Hi everybody, this is the CRM Ninja coming at you this evening with another one of the Oops Factor series. Just to say that people are really enjoying all the stories that everybody's bringing. If you'd like to come on, please drop me a line and let me know. This evening we are joined by the delightful Alison Mulligan, who is coming on to share her stories. How are you doing, Alison?
Very well, thank you. And you?
Not bad, thanks. It's been a busy day. So before we get into your Oops Factor story, I have a question for you. Now,
shoot.
Apart from Dynamics and Power Platform and Microsoft Community, which we both share a love for and have in common, we also have something else in common. We both love motorbikes. And I'm curious as to how you got into biking, into motorbiking in the first place.
Do you know what? I know I don't look old enough, EY, but I can't remember that far back what it was that got me into biking. I think just my friends all used to ride bikes. Like actually a couple of my friends were pizza delivery kids when we were like 16, 17. And, and so they went from mopeds doing pizza delivery onto proper motorbikes. And like, yeah, pretty much all of my friends just rode bikes and I got into it from there. And like I've always been a bit of an adrenaline junkie. I've done, like, I've actually raced motorbikes a little bit.
Wow.
I've done some drifting in cars. I learned to fly a helicopter. Like, so I kind of like.
Hold on, you learned to fly a helicopter?
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. So I've done the bikes, I've done the cars, I've done skydiving as well. I haven't learned to fly a helicopter. Okay, so next time I'm stuck in London traffic, I can just like give you a call and you can take me to where I need to go?
Yeah, I don't actually have a helicopter, but you know, if you can provide the helicopter, then I can definitely fly us.
I know some people. We'll talk about this. Maybe we can do something with technology in this. Anyhow, Oops Factor. So what is your story that you want to share with the community this evening that made you go, oops?
It made several people go oops, actually. But I've got a couple of stories. One of them I feel like is copying Emma Darcy and Chris Huntingford a little bit, because it involves a D3. Actually, no, Chris wasn't a D365, was it? Actually, it wasn't even D365. When we first got our CRM, our dynamic CRM, it was back in 2015. So whatever version, I can't remember what version it was, but it definitely wasn't the latest version at the time. And we had gone live about 2 days prior to this particular incident. And I was happily sitting at my desk, tapping away, playing with things on the system, and mistakenly our CRM provider, which was Crimson, had given me full admin privileges, which turns out to have been like just such an enormous error. So I was messing around with advanced finds, because we had some erroneous data that had come over, or some data that had come over that we just didn't really need. Particularly, there's an area in our system which is called shortlists, where if we've got candidates that we want to present against vacancies, you have to put the candidate into a shortlist, and from there you can present their CV, and organise interviews and all of that kind of thing.
Just as a background to anyone listening, by the way, Alison works in recruitment. So when she's talking about shortlists and stuff, it's for the candidates who she's putting forward for positions.
Correct, yeah. And so there was a bunch of shortlist records that were just, they were old data and they weren't useful. And so I decided that I would delete them. So I was messing around doing some advanced finds to delete these records that we didn't want, this bad data, because what we should have done obviously is cleansed it properly before we brought it over, but we didn't. So
benefits of hindsight with the project.
Yes, yeah, quite. And so there I was gaily munching away on a sandwich and crunching through some bad data, and I hit the delete button for a bunch of these shortlist records, and deleted them. And it asked me a couple of times, are you really sure that you want to delete this? Which I thought was a bit much, but I was like, yeah, I definitely want to delete it. It's fine. So, which I did. but I actually deleted every single shortlist record off the system, which was like 15 years worth of interviews and like where we put people forward for jobs, etc. So
please tell me there was a backup at least.
There was, but it was from the day before.
Okay.
So that meant everything that had gone on that day. So like I basically had to email everybody in the company and say, everything you've done today, if you've sent out a CV, you've booked an interview, you've shortlisted somebody, whatever, then you need to redo it on the system tomorrow, because basically we're going to have to do a restore back to yesterday.
Wow.
So I was hugely popular with my colleagues, as I'm sure you can imagine.
And was this an on-premise or a cloud-based?
It was cloud.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, I was not the most popular girl in school, I have to say, for that one. But we lived to fight another day. We got it all back. It was fine. It was just there was a bit of grumbling with people having to redo records that they'd done the day before. Salespeople.
Yeah, I hear. I hear that biscuits go down really well in massaging people's egos at that point.
It was more than biscuits. It was quite a lot of alcohol was required the following Friday. So yeah, I definitely paid for that one. And the other one is it was when I worked at Yves Saint Laurent, which was way before I got into recruitment, so 20-something years ago.
What were you doing at Yves Saint Laurent?
I used to do their market forecasting
Wow.
for fragrance and cosmetics and stuff like that. And
that sounds really interesting.
It was really interesting, yeah. It was very interesting. And we had this old AS400 system, because obviously it was like 20 years ago.
I've heard about those. Never touched one, but heard about them. There are still some companies around that use them?
I know, which is bonkers. I can't believe that. Like, honestly, do they not know that there are other things out there? It's absolute madness. So we had this old AS400 system, and I had a little project to do, which was to migrate something like 14,000 SKUs, which is stock keeping units for forecasting and, well, just for stock levels, etc., for several warehouses onto a new database, because they're saying, like, we can't stay with AS400, and they decided they were going to use Microsoft Access. And I was kind of digging around the system and like mapping where the data was and stuff like that, trying to figure out.
At least it wasn't in Excel.
It wasn't in Excel. We had definitely moved forward, albeit to Access. But in digging around the system, I found this little area somewhere in the back that appeared to be like a messaging system. And I thought, that's interesting. And being the curious and inquisitive individual that I am, I thought, let's have a look at that. And I typed out a couple of lines from a very rude rugby song.
No.
When you just you look at someone and you think, what goes on in your head? Why did you, like, I could have put anything. I could have put Hello Cleveland. I could have put anything. But I decided to put a couple of really sweary lines from a rugby song. Did you lose me then?
It's fine. I decided to video blip for a moment.
A couple of lines from a really sweary rugby song onto this instant messenger and hit send, and it went out to everybody in Europe in Yves Saint Laurent.
Wow.
And Van Cleef & Arpels and Oscar de la Renta. And I knew this because I could hear the giggles from my colleagues starting, like this ripple effect of giggling, because they could see who the message was from, and obviously it was quite rude. And I was thinking, oh my God, what have I done? And then within about 2 minutes, I got a call from Jane Rickenberg, who was the MD's secretary, to say, David, who was the MD, David's out at lunch at the moment, but you better call IT and figure out a way of getting that message off his screen before he comes back.
At least she was nice about it. And
she was lovely. Jane was lovely. She was a little bit angry about it, but she was lovely. She was a lovely person. So so I had to then go and persuade the IT guys to deal with it, who obviously thought it was hilarious.
I'm sure IT guys would have thought it was hilarious. I did something similar many years ago. Not from a rugby song, actually. I used a quote from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. But I was trying to test out something in DOS to check if systems were up and running. I was only a small company, so I didn't realize that instead of running a command to check if a system was up, I sent a message one. And again, there was some ripple around the office. But the reaction from my MD was, or anybody closely to him, was not quite as positive. I did manage to get away from it by saying I was trying to check if the systems were up and running, and I did show them the code that I was running, and they pointed out to me the joys of that. Anyhow, so do you still have admin rights to your systems, or do you now make sure
I do.
that...
They had to give me restricted admin rights for a bit till I learned how to use everything by agreement. I was like, yeah, don't let me be able to delete everything. But now I have full admin rights. Now that I know what I'm doing, I've got full admin rights. But yeah, like I just didn't know what I was doing. So I think it was a lesson for both me and Crimson that, you know, potentially don't give full admin rights to someone that doesn't have a clue what they're doing. But,
that is very true. And you know, companies generally now work on the thing of what's the minimum level of access rights that you need in order to do your job, rather than giving the full whack. I know traditionally I always went wanting everything to have SysOp, system operator rights, and then have stuff removed. But yes, no, security is very important, especially when deleting records.
Yes.
So Alison, thank you so much for coming on. I have one last question for you, which is something that new that I've decided to ask the people who come on the show, which is, if there could be one person who you know who you would want to be on this show, who would it be?
Lucy Bourne. I can tell you, I know several of her oops factors that would be very funny to have on your show. So yes, you definitely need to have her on.
So I know she's away on holiday at the moment before she starts on at Microsoft. So when she's back, I will drop her a line and tell her that you've nominated her to come on the show.
She's back today. She was in the office today, so yeah, she literally flew back in today. So maybe she's sleeping tomorrow. But,
okay, I'll leave it for later on in the week then. I wouldn't want to jump too much. Thanks so much for coming on the show. Anybody watching this, we hope you've enjoyed it. Please click like, subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to come on, hit the link below. It's supposed to be pointing down now, where there's a form that you can fill out to come appear on it. Thank you so much. Have a great evening, Alison.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.